Hello and welcome to the Damn Good Podcast. This show is going to take you for a ride. I'm going to share what's going on in my life and the insights that I find along the way. We'll talk mindset, fitness, tactics, and business strategy. The big question, what do I need to do today to be better tomorrow? I'm Dillon Mitchell, and this is the Damn Good Podcast. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Damn Good Podcast. Today, we're going to talk about specialization. You might be wondering what I mean when I talk about specialization. In every company, in every role, basically, you need to be specialized. You need to do one or two things and do them really, really well. I found this all the time in construction. People would have multiple roles, not necessarily on the contractor side, but on the design side. A architect would also be the project manager, would also be the account executive, would also be responsible for sales. This became an ego thing and how many titles you had, not how effective you were at what you did. So the best way for you to be effective in construction and design companies, for example, one thing would be you have people that do drafting and set up the projects. You have engineers who do design and help with initial layouts, but aren't necessarily doing all the drafting. They're giving guidance to others for them to do the design. There's the project managers that are solely responsible for how projects are doing. Are they on time, on budget, communicating with clients? And then there are account executives, making sure that multiple projects are running smoothly and in charge of that, as well as maybe helping with sales. See, that's a role that, because they're client focused, can be helpful in sales. And then business development. That person is in charge of sales solely, right? Doing outreach, working on client leads. And really, if you look at sales organizations, you should have somebody that's in charge of outreach, just straight up outbound, and then somebody that is in charge of closing those deals. I know for architecture and engineering firms that can get a little tricky, where you need your technical experts to go and do presentations and sales calls. So they need to be well versed in how to present and have a good ability to talk about their craft. That is also one thing that is rarely ever done, is training for those technical roles to give presentations. Now, if you want a great presentation, you have to have some training to make sure that you're actually good at what you're doing. But this could extend to any company. See, in particular, B2B sales. I just spent the weekend talking solely about B2B sales. And in many of these conversations, you have a dedicated outbound person that will save your closers so much time, mental energy, and really the stuff that they hate doing. So if you have basically dedicated prospectors to bring leads into your closers, your top end performers, it's going to be so much more beneficial for you. And the biggest reason why that is, your closers, they're good at closing. They hate doing the little tedious follow-ups, monotony, and really that's basic, just outbound blocking and tackling type of stuff. They want to be engaged with the customer and help them through their problems. They want to help solve their problems. For somebody new into the game of sales, outbound is a great place to start. They get a lot of conversations very quickly and can learn the game. They can learn how those conversations flow, how to form that cadence, that sequence, to get them ultimately to take a meeting, to have a conversation with you so you can find out more about who they are, what they need, and then ultimately to pass them off to the closer. And then as you move up, you get better at it. Then you're going to be in meetings with the closer so that you can learn and absorb that information and then ultimately become a closer yourself. So that's the progression that should be made. And then you're going to have some managers of your outbound team, some managers of your salespeople, some account executives. You're going to stack all this stuff so that you have and build a great team. What we don't often do is we don't specialize. We don't put people in specific roles doing one certain thing. Now, there's times in business like I'm at right now where I'm doing a whole lot of stuff. Doing outbound, I'm doing closing, doing demos, doing development of software. I'm across the board in everything right now. Writing thank you letters. You kind of name it, I'm doing it. But I'm at the point in a startup that I don't want outside funding, that I'm a one-man team. So when you have a team, when you've built a team, you need to specialize. So whenever you bring in somebody, whenever I bring in somebody, which I'll talk about here, I'm going to have them in a dedicated, specialized role, and a role that's big enough for them to be fully immersed in that day in and day out. So guys, this is the Damn Good Podcast, and until next time.